Good morning, ladies. I'm feeling a lot better today. Thank you very much for the concern. Just saying. Even if you weren't, I am it's interesting because I haven't been sick for an entire year, but anyway, I'm making it through. It's all good. I'm feeling really really amazing. Today is let's think about it. And we're talking about communication. And first, before we even get started, subscribe because I go live every single day, well, 5 days a week. And this is all about setting our intentions for the world, for your life, for your purpose, for what you are trying to do. And the morning is so critical because that's when we're getting set up for the entire day. So that's when it's time for us to say, I'm going to show up powerfully. This is what I want to accomplish. This is how I want to show up. This is how, and really getting clear on what that looks like for you. We want to be intentional about our life, not, well, we hope things happen. No, let's set goals and go after it. And that's mindset goals. Today, I want to be stronger. Today, I want to reduce my anger. Today, I want to be a better leader. Today, I want whatever that may be for you. And I know that you are doing amazing, big, huge things. And whether that be starting a business, running a company, leading a team, being an amazing mom, maybe it's working on yourself. I know when I went through my transformation and I focused just on myself, that was such an incredible journey. And I had to be extremely intentional about it. And I went through different steps in my life. And I said, I'm just going to focus on my anger. And I'm talking about anger because that's what we're going to talk about it on Let's Talk About It Thursday. Yeah. But I had to set my intentions on what I was going to work on because the truth is that there are so many things in this world. There's so many things you can focus on, so many things that you can focus your attention on or work within yourself or whatever it is that it's better for us to isolate things and get real clear. Say, hey, I want to work on this because the truth is we can't do it all at the same time. I think about in the way that I work is I open up all my browsers and I do a bazillion things at the same time. That's just how I operate. Some people are very linear. You get one task, you work on that task, you finish that task, you move on to the next. I do all at the same time. That's just how I work. And it's a little chaotic that way because I'm bouncing here, I'm bouncing there, I'm bouncing there. It may be more effective to do it linearly. Finish one, then finish the next, finish the next. I haven't tried it out because my brain doesn't work that way when it comes to work and tasking myself. But I know when I was doing personal development that I really had to focus on certain areas of my life so that I understood them because you are an ecosystem. You're an ecosystem that within you, all of these pieces interact. And so understanding each one of those and how they work in correlation is so powerful. And so today, let's talk about it. Let's talk about anger because we all get angry. And I think about the training that police officers or anyone in the military has to go through because they're in fight or flight situations. They're in much more intense situations than most of us will ever be in, whether someone's throwing a gun in their face or threatening their lives or, just angry because they got pulled over and they don't know why, or they didn't want to get pulled over, or they have something illegal in their car, or whatever that may be. And these officers are taught how to respond in those situations because I mean, I don't know about you, but if someone was throwing a gun in my face, like, right, we get all this adrenaline that comes into our body, and it's like we either get paralyzed, or we run, or we scream, or we want to kick the gun out of their hand, or whatever. I mean, how would you respond? Really, think about these situations where if somebody slaps you in the face, what do you do? Maybe you slap them back. But is that what an officer is supposed to do? Or do they have to tackle them down, put their hands behind their back, and all of that? Well, I don't know that that's what I'm going to be doing if somebody slaps me in the face, where I say, okay, I'm going to do a citizen's arrest over here. I don't know. I'm either running or I'm punching them in the face back. I don't, so it's my point is, when we're in these situations, who knows how we're going to react? Who knows how we're going to respond? And we talked yesterday about taking this pause when we hear the word no, that it's okay for us before we respond to take that pause and really think about it. So I want us today to think about these situations where we're put in a position where we get angry. And maybe it's because somebody didn't do something and you think this person should have done something. Or maybe somebody's coming at you and they're getting angry, and that's your defense mechanism, is that you also want to get angry. So whatever it is, whatever situation it is that you may find yourself in, this could be at work, this could be at home, this could be just between you and the mirror. It could be within yourself. And maybe you're just driving along and you see a crazy driver, or maybe you see somebody who's parked in two different spots and you get that anger. I want us to first be aware when these things are happening. Anger tells us so much more that is happening underneath the surface. Why are we getting angry in the first place? And what I like to do, the first thing that I like to assess is this something that I can even control? And we talked about it on the show that if we don't control it, it's wasted energy. It's one of two things. It's wasted energy, and it puts us in a suffering state. So you've already figured out that you're in a suffering state because you're angry. Anger is suffering. Fear, frustration, anxiety, resentment, embarrassment, boredom. These are all states of suffering, and we don't want to be in those. So when you find yourself in this, oh, okay, what's going on here? Do I control this situation? Okay, the person that just got into presidency, or the person that was just nominated to be the head of state, or the person that just got elected into a position is not the person that I wanted. Okay, valid. Is that something you control? The truth is no. You can vote, you can go out and lobby, you can do certain things, but you do not control who becomes president. So, should you be getting angry over it? And we need to learn to let things go. And it sounds so much easier than it really is. Just let it go. It takes practice. It's practice just like anything else. It's practice just like not getting angry or controlling your emotions or becoming more positive versus negative. All of these things take practice, especially if you're coming from a point where you have a lot of suffering in you. And that suffering is magnetic. So when you are in that state of suffering, that's what you're attracting. You've got that energy all around you. And so for you to turn that magnet around and start to become more positive and polarize everything that's in your space, it is like turning a boat around, a big, heavy cruise ship. It is. I've done it. But that's why you have to take one little thing at a time. You can't just turn everything all at once. I'm just going to do all the things. It's like when we go on these diets. Like, I have some friends, and I'm this way too. I'm going to do all the things. I want to lose weight. And people are like, "What's working, Jen?" And I'm like, "I have no idea, because I just tried 24 things all at the same time. So I don't really know what's working and what's not working." That's why when you have allergies, your doctor will advise you to start to remove one thing from your diet at a time and not all of the things. Because if you remove all of the things, you don't know which one of those things is actually causing you to have that allergy. So you need to isolate. That's exactly what we're doing here with our life. So when you have so much suffering, when you just find that you're angry all the time, and you might not even realize that you're angry, but start to pay attention to that blood pressure of yours. Start to pay attention to when you're getting annoyed or frustrated. These are all signs of suffering. And say, man, what's going on? And do I control this? Start there. Do I control it? If no, okay, let it go and start to practice that. Say, okay, I'm not going to let this election bother me. I'm not. I'm not going to let whatever that is that I don't control bother me. And really, really, you can ask your higher power, say, higher power, give me the strength. That's how we should be starting out in the morning. Say, hey, give me the strength when situations come along that I don't control, that I have power over letting go. Ask for that. Ask for that strength every single morning. Start there and then identify it. And when it happens, let it go. So when you realize that you don't control things, and it does, it's kind of a science. You got to say, okay, wait, do I actually control this? Hold on, the election. No, I don't control who's president, but I do control voting. Okay. All right. I don't control this, but I do control that. And that's what the serenity prayer is. Help me to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because it's kind of a fine line sometimes. We're not really sure, do we control the situation or don't we control that situation? But what you'll find is that when people have control issues, they're anxious, they're angry, they're frustrated. Just let it go. Don't be one of those people. So we're talking about communication. So how does this come down to communication? Because when we're in a situation, I want you to think about yourself, because you are a leader. And I don't know what kind of leader you are. You are a leader of a company. You're a leader of your team. You're a leader of your household. You're a leader of yourself. You're a leader in your church. You're a leader of your friends. I don't know what kind of leader you are, but you're a leader. And what do we want out of our leaders? When we think of, wow, that was a really good leader, think of somebody that comes to mind. What are some qualities about the way that person responds in situations? Anything stand out? I hope it's not anger. Boy, when I approach this person and I have a problem, they just pop off at me. No, that's not what we want in our leaders. We want someone who has emotional boundaries within themselves, that when situations happen, that they know how to address them internally before they come out externally. Because once we release words out into the wild, they're out there. Look what just happened to Rachel Hollis. Bless her heart, right? I mean, she said some words, and I don't know if she meant them or not. I don't know. But they're out there, and they got heavily scrutinized. I'm not saying things were right, things were wrong. I'm a fan or I'm not a fan. I'm just saying she said some words, and they were heavily scrutinized. And what happened? There's been some recourse within her world. There's been some apologizing. Some followers were lost. I'm not sure if she had her annual convention that she has, the We Rise convention. I don't know. I think it got canceled. So we need to be very aware of the words that we're saying, because they're a reflection of us. And who do we want to be? And you see, that's why we need to isolate these things within ourselves. We need to take ourselves and not look at us as one big old fat lump sum. But we've got all these layers. We've got all of these pieces. Happiness is a piece, and anger is a piece, and prosperity is a piece, and leadership is a piece. And we have all these pieces. And I'm not saying that they're equal because we don't want your anger to be as equal as to your peace. But we have all of these things inside of us, and we need to know how to keep tabs on them, how we control them, because only we can control ourselves. Sometimes you see how other people want to try to control you, but you see, the truth is only you control you. Only you are responsible for your happiness. Only you are responsible for your actions. Only you are responsible for everything. Even I look back at my dating situations, and I used to have really, really traumatic dating life before I valued myself, because I didn't value myself. So why would these guys value me? And guess what? I was physically abused. I was mentally abused. There were a lot of situations that just were not good. And whereas I don't condone, I'm not making excuses for these men, but there was a common denominator in all of these. And I had to say, what do I need to change? Where is my ownership in this? So again, what they did, absolutely wrong. 150% wrong. So let's just get clear. I'm not giving them a hall pass here. But what needed to change about me? I needed to value myself higher. I needed to change things within myself. And guess what? When I did, the situation changed. So only you control you. You control your actions. You control your thoughts. You control all of this. And it is a muscle. It takes time. It takes time for us to get a handle on all this stuff. For so many years, for 3.5 decades, I just let my thoughts just wander wherever the heck they wanted to go. Then I realized that I had a choice. And so I made that choice. And then I realized what I had control over and what I didn't have control over. And that helped narrow the pool down even more. And I said, wow, if I don't have control over it, then I just let it go. But who is that leader that you want to emulate? What are those qualities? And think about how that person responds. So when you're in a situation and someone is approaching you, again, it could be your kids, it could be your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, someone who works for you. It could be the way you approach you. I don't know. But however it is, how would you want, when you think of that person that you admire, how would that person respond? And if it is an anger, maybe you need to find someone else to look around and say, okay, who represents peace and love and strength and all of that? Yeah, that's who we want to emulate. Those are the people that get respect. We want respect from individuals. We don't respect because we're a bully. We want respect because we have trust. How do you gain trust? It's the words, it's the actions that come from you. And if you walk around and you're a bully, so if someone says something to you and you respond and you say, ah, and sometimes that's going to happen. We're human. It's that fight or flight. But don't be afraid to take that pause. That pause is so powerful. It's so powerful for you. So take it if you need it. And then once you've been in these situations for some time, that's why these police go through training. They get a gun thrown in their face. How do they respond? Maybe the first time, not so well. The second time, how do they respond? They're still a little freaked out because they got a gun in their face. The third time, okay, they're kind of used to it. How do they respond? The fourth time, okay, now they know. That's why they go through training. Life is training. Until you take your last breath, you're training. I'm training. Everybody's training. Les Brown is training. He's 75 years old? He'll tell you he's still learning. He's amazing. He's a motivational speaker. He's been motivating people for decades and decades. And he'll tell you he's still learning. This whole life is just an evolution. But we have to be tapped into ourselves. And our words are so powerful. So when we think about communication, I want all of us to think before we speak. We've heard that. Let's put it into practice. And once you practice it a few times, it becomes a little easier. And then when you're in those situations that you thought about for a little bit, maybe you know how to respond a little bit quicker. But it's okay to take a walk. It's okay to take a pause, a few seconds before you respond. Don't let anybody bully you into a response right then and there. That is your right to walk away, to take a pause, whatever that may be. Once you put those words out in the wild, there may be repercussions, and you have to own that. So control what you can control. Control your emotions, control your words, control your response. It takes practice, and we're not always going to do it right. And when you don't do it right, don't get down on yourself. Just learn from it and then do better the next time. So we're done for the day. All about motivating ourselves so that we walk out powerfully. Ask for that support today. Ask for that strength to control your emotions when you get in those situations. Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. It will be our last day of talking about communication. Make sure you subscribe. And I want you to say this with me today because I'm feeling this. Say, I am loved. I am worth it. And I matter. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Make sure you go out to higherinheels.com, send me a message because on Tuesday, we're going to be addressing those messages as they come in. So we'll see you then tomorrow, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. I love you. Until then, cheers.